Now let's talk about transitions, okay? You want to add a transition, so you just come here to FX library and you grab your video transitions. You've got quite a list. Generally, we tend to use cross-dissolve more often than any others, especially when you're working in film. You don't use any at all, okay? As I said, this is not your typical classroom teacher. I'm a filmmaker and I'm just giving you the stuff with the perspective of filmmaker. If you're working in fiction, like you're making drama films, stay away from these transitions, please. Okay, don't use any at all. You can possibly dip to black, right? You can dip to black, and I would even recommend that you create your own preset. I'll show you how to do that, but that's going to be like used once in the whole film. In fiction films, there are no transitions whatsoever. They're just like the hard cut. That's it. You will notice it yourself. Just watch any film you want, and you're going to see that there are not transitions. So yes, I do open these kind of brackets to tell you that transitions are for other types of things. So if you would like to have I don't know, if there's a music clip probably, or there's a documentary with, I don't know. Well, if you feel you need to use a transition, let me show you how to use that, okay? But not for fiction films. All right, so this, I'm going to be using cross-dissolve, though. You know what? I prefer to use dip to black, but let's create cross-dissolve first, and then we can talk about your own, creating your own presets, okay? First, let's bring in this one. So you just drag and drop, you go somewhere in the middle, and then you drag and drop it, okay? So it's either here, I'm just backspace, again, not delete, do not delete, not the button delete, just backspace. Everything's going to be all right if you use backspace, okay? Cross dissolve, if you place it somewhere on the left, it's going to be on the left, just affecting the clip on the left. If you place it somewhere closer to the right, it's going to be affecting only, affecting only the one on the right. If you place it somewhere in the middle, it's going to be affecting both. That makes perfect sense. Okay, that's quite simple. If you start dragging, then you're going to, of course, define how long or short your transition is going to take. And if you really feel like getting a bit more detailed, then you click on this little icon here. It's going to give you a little bit more information here, but yeah, it's not enough. Let's just click on this one, and then you get the real meat. Okay, then you get the real stuff in terms of more control about what you want. Okay, then you click on any one of these points and say, I want to change it. You get the handle, and you start playing with your handle, ease in, out, whatever type of transition you want to make. You can just customize the whole thing. Okay, you can customize it. All right, so let me just reset this whole thing, because I didn't mean to do any of that. And we close this, and then we close this again. All right, so this is about transition, as in bringing it in here. Okay, there's another way of doing it. I'm just backspace, not delete, backspace. If I want to do it by selecting, it's like if you select this point, see, it becomes red. Sorry, that was green. It becomes green. Yeah, it becomes green. So if you want to say, I want to apply it to these three, same transition, just okay, pressing Control and click, and then say I want all these three to have the same one. Then okay, fine, you come here and you right click and you say add to selected edit points and clips. You click on that and it gets added. Okay, now this is the video transition that comes as a preset. Okay, now what if you ships by default in Davinci Resolve? What if you want to create your own transition because you just believe your own works best? Okay, let's do it like this. Say, for example, it is going to become, you're going to tweak it. You're going to tweak it and say you're going to change, let me just undo all of this stuff. Come and create one somewhere here. Yeah, shall we? Yeah, just for a change, just come to this shot over here. So this one is color graded. This one is not. Okay, whatever. Again, the sound off. Sorry, just switch off the sound. Okay, so if I have here, and I'd like to have a transition, you're going to start with one. Okay, you're going to start with the one that you want to work with. Say I would like to use a, oh no, please, no shape wipe. Oh, no, not these ones. No, motion, push, slide. I was thinking which one would work best. The blur, dissolve, dip to color. Lovely. Yeah, this is the one that, I mean, if you ever have one transition in the whole film, it's going to be something like cross dissolve. Unless you have some dream style transitions, then you're possibly going to take it to the white with a little bit more effects infusion. But that's kind of it in fiction. Okay, so I drag and drop to dissolve one. It does and I come to inspector. Why do I come to inspector? Because I need to change these settings. It does default to white. Generally we tend to use the black, so let's go with black. Okay, let's say this is what I want. Oh, this is not enough. Let's say I want to have it shorter. Something like this. Let me just have a little look. Oh, that's a bit too harsh. Let me just have a look. Okay, let's assume this is okay. Let's assume this is what you want. Okay, I'm going to leave it to you, your artistic choice. I'm going to leave it to you. Let's say this is what you want, and this is what you believe you should be using all the time. You don't need to do it every time. It's like, okay, bring it in, change the default color to black, and then change the duration. You just create a preset. How do you do that? Just right click on this thing. I mean, you can do it even after change. Let me just increase this. You can even play with your ease in, out, whatever stuff you want to do. It's just for fun. Just change this one a little bit like this. Yeah, whatever. Okay, and then close it. Okay, this is the one. Okay, this is the one. You right click, create transition preset. You create and you say deep to color dissolve preset, deep to black. Deep to black color preset. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, and then you click OK. Okay, so where is it gone? Well, if you scroll down, you're going to find something called user. Well, good. This is the one that we have created, deep to black, deep to color black preset. Anything you create is going to be yellow, and it's going to be down, completely down at the list, user. So this is the stuff that you want to use. You use some transitions quite often. Please create presets. You're going to save your self a lot of time. And if you are going to apply it to more than one, then instead of just coming and then dragging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just select your transition points, like these ones, control and then control, control, and then you come here and then right click and add to selected. Boom. Okay, it's there. Another thing about transitions in Davinci Resolve is that you can set your preferred one, the one that we've just created, the user stuff that we just created, dip to black preset, dip to color black preset. You can set it as standard transition. So now, what's the standard transition? The standard transition is cross dissolve. If you come here and you right click, set a standard transition, then you got the red thingy in here, which tells you this is your default one. Well, what does it mean? Every time you do the following, what is the following? I'll show you. You are going to get it by default. So you don't even need to scroll down and look for user stuff. It is the default transition. It is the one that is going to be every time. Okay, so how do we do that? You come here, say for example, you want to create it here. You press Shift and Alt in Windows and Shift Option in Mac, and you drag, sorry, you need to be in selection mode, and you drag. That is a bit too much. Just select just one of them. Shift and Alt, and then you drag. When you drag, what happens? You create a transition. But which transition is this? This is your default transition. This is then your dip to black. So it's the one that we have created, your user default one. Okay. If you leave it as default, if you leave this cross dissolve, so whatever you do, anytime you use Shift Alt or Shift Option and you drag your clip, you create the default transition. So you better set your preferred one as the default, then you use Shift Alt. As part of talking about the transitions, actually, I'd like to talk to you about the handles that you find in the clips themselves. So without even bringing in a transition, you have the possibility to use these handles to play with the fade in and out. Actually, it's not really fade in and out. In reality, it's an opacity thing. If you just move, I'll just grab it a little bit, just frame by frame. What is happening now? This is not black. Let me just again switch off the sound. What is happening here is not actually black. It is opacity. So if I take this in here, you're going to notice that if I bring this one, that actually it's not the black, it's just opacity. So these handles do change the opacity of the clip, okay?